20th. Can you believe it is July 20th already? It is blowing my mind. And apologies for being a couple minutes late. I was having some technical difficulties, which can happen. Anyways, so let's get going. I wanted to share a few things that I know to be true about a professional woman's career. These are things that not only have I experienced, but also most of my clients have experienced. And I call these like core truths. They're universal for pretty much every woman in a professional setting. And I wanted to just impart my wisdom that I've gained over the last 50 years of being on the planet, because it's been a trip. um, because it's worthwhile. And part of this is being in community as women. And so I know I've had a lot of women that are older than me that have shared things with me. And I now want to be that older woman who shares things with younger women. It's really important that we impart the knowledge and the wisdom that we have to make each successive generation of women even more empowered, even stronger, even more authentic. And that's my goal. So let's get going on this topic. All right, if you are new to the Monday on Madness program, I'm a career transition mentor. My name is Marissa Krupa, and I focus on helping mid-career women who they know they want to make a change, but they don't know what they want. And they don't know what they want, likely because of burnout or desperation or whatever, some kind of stuckness. Unlike other coaches, I integrate a lot of mindfulness and somatic practices into my programs, and that provides skills for clients and tools that they can use in any situation, especially stressful situations. We will be using some components of the mindfulness-based stress reduction program developed by John Kabat-Zinn in the 1970s. And these techniques include movement, writing, discussion, and meditation. And so make sure you have a journal or diary or scrap paper or whatever that you can write on for the session. Let's explore about, I guess, self-care. This is kind of a check-in page. I found a lot of amazing quotes regarding self-care. I chose this one from a gal named Kerry Washington, and she's really all about empowering African American women to, I guess, be the best women they can be and to stand up for themselves and, take the time they need to take to care for themselves. And I really believe this quote is true. I know for myself that if I am not really caring for myself and if my health isn't good or whatever, then I can't be present for others. And that's been very true. We are often conditioned by, everything, society, workplaces, family dynamics, cultures, to put others first before ourselves, because we're expected to be mothers. And there's a lot of pressure around motherhood. The thing is, if we do that to the point where we never care for ourselves, then we get burnt out, overtaxed, overwhelmed. And I wrote in my notes, seriously crabby. And then we can't adequately care for our loved ones. We can't, and then when we can't adequately care for our loved ones in the way that we want or the way that we're expected, that starts to erode our self-esteem. And we think we're bad mothers or bad women. And it becomes this like self-fulfilling prophecy of negativity and low self-value. The pathway to break this cycle begins when we love ourselves enough to care for ourselves. You've probably heard of that adage when you're on an airplane or you've been on an airplane and they say put your oxygen mask on first and then assist your child or elderly person. And I've heard it also said that you can't give from an empty cup, right? If your cup isn't full, you can't give. I've also heard, though, that you shouldn't even be giving from a full cup, but instead, when your cup is overflowing, you give of the overflow. I'm still not quite at the overflow, but I'm working on it, and I hope to get there. Let's check in with ourselves in this moment of now. We're going to do the whole shebang now and then go into these 3 things that I know to be true. On a scale of 1 to 10, in this moment of now, including your mental, emotional, and physical self, what is your number? Jot it down or memorize it. And now let's do a few gentle movement sequences together to shake off the Monday blahs. It's the middle of the summer. I know for me, I am overdoing because it's summer and it's not cold and 20 below out. So I'm actually trying to do things outside, and my weekends, I often overtax myself. So these can help invigorate ourselves and get us into a better mindset, and also just release some of the fatigue and the blahs that we might be experiencing from the weekend. So I'll go to big screen now. Oh, let me demonstrate. If you are not able to stand, you can do all of these activities. If you've got any kind of stool or chair like so, then just sit on the very edge. You can kind of hook your sits bones on the edge and then allow your spine to be nice and erect. I like to tilt my pelvis back a little bit to allow the sacrum to drop towards the floor so that I protect my low back, so I'm not like arching on the stool, right? So notice how that's like the arch. And now as I allow the tailbone to drop down and I'm tilting the pubic bone up towards my belly button a little bit, almost like putting on a pair of really tight pants and zippering them up. So this lower abdominal is engaged, okay? I'm going to demonstrate this standing for today. And these are all ones we've done before, but if you're new, this will be new for you, and I hope you enjoy them. Let's see how I can go with the camera here. All right. Oh, and I need to get my, or no, I can use my watch actually, so I'll use that. All right, I need to use the timer. Let me see where that. Timer, here it is. Okay. The first one we're going to do is just called grandfather's coat. And so with your feet hip distance apart, allow your spine to be nice and straight. Again, you can still tilt the pelvis a little bit like you've got tight pants on. And then allow your arms to be slack and just twist side to side. We're gently opening up the spine. Imagine you've got your grandfather's coat on and you're a little girl, and the sleeves are wiping along the floor, getting all dusty. Alrighty, gently pause that movement and come back to center. Just stand and breathe in this moment and feel what you feel in your body. The next one we're going to do is called cross crawl. I will demonstrate it for you slow, and then we're going to start to do it faster and faster. And it's kind of like, I don't know if you've ever watched a rodeo, but I use like a rodeo hand, like especially when the riders are on the bucking bronco, you're supposed to like spur with their legs, and they take up their free hand and they kind of flail it back, and they get style points for that. We just had our rodeo about a month ago, so it was really great, and there were some great riders. So when you do this, raise your arm up pretty high like a cactus next to your head, and then you're going to lift your opposite knee and touch it down, and then bring your arm back up. You've got your other arm up, Now do the other one. Okay? So it's a larger movement than you think in order to really get the benefits of this. What this movement does is it starts to connect the left and right hemispheres of the brain and get them to start working together. And especially if you're feeling blah like I am today on a Monday, it's a really great way to stimulate your mind as well as relax your body. We're gonna do this now for 30 seconds. So here's the timer and go. So we'll start off kind of slow, get the rhythm of it. And you can go really high with your knee, get some abdominal crunches in. Now let's try to pick up the pace a little bit here. Keep going. We got about 8 seconds left. Go as fast as you can. And time. Whew. Stand and breathe. Feel what you feel. Feel what your mind is like. Feel your body. Feel your breathing. Feel your legs. Feel your arms. And the last one we're going to do is what I like to call the jazz hands Kriya. I'm going to adjust the camera a little bit so you can see me better. And this involves taking our arms up into the air with our palms spread wide in a nice V like this. There's not really a lot of specifics around the pose. So your arms are at a V, and as you draw them, the elbows into your sides, you're going to make your hands into fists. And then we make the sound of ch. So when your arms are extended out, you inhale. Exhaling, bring your elbows in and your hands into fists. Ch. So let's practice a few rounds so we can get the hang of it. Inhale. Ch. Exhale. Inhale. Ch. Exhale. Ch. Ch. Okay, everybody got it? Let's set up the timer for 30 seconds and go. Ch. 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 Let's speed it up. Go a little faster again. And release. 30 seconds is really fast. I'm pretty sure when I've done this before, I've done 1 minute, and that seems to be a better deal, but 30 seconds is great. Pause and breathe. Feel what you feel. And just notice without needing to change anything. That's really the point of a lot of these mindfulness exercises, is learning to get into the habit of noticing. Because when we get into this habit, we can then pay attention to our bodies. And if our bodies are giving us signals that are saying, I'm really hurting right now, I need to not be doing this, we can listen. If our body is giving us a signal, I'm feeling afraid in this moment, we can listen and do something to get out of that situation so that we're not afraid. It's all just awareness. It's all just awareness. And what my awareness practice has done for me over the years is helped me to recognize my feelings, because I didn't learn what feelings really were when I grew up. Like, they didn't have the chart with the smiley faces that show all the things like they have for kids now, right? I didn't learn that. So I had a hard time even understanding what my feelings were. I get to experience my feelings, become aware that they are there, acknowledge them, and then decide and choose what kind of action I'll take based on those feelings, instead of it just being this automatic knee-jerk response where the feeling comes and I act, and there's not even a conscious understanding that that's happening. So it gives me a chance to have a pause. Okie dokie, let's get back to our deal. Okay, and let's do 1 minute of stillness. And just notice our breath. So again, if you are seated, if you're still standing, you can just stand and have a nice direct spine. If you're seated, again, come to the edge of your chair. And this time, let's put one hand on, I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing this so you can see. Let's put one hand on our chest, and then one hand on the belly, just below the belly button. So here's my belly button, kind of where my pants are, and I'm gonna put my hand right here, okay? And we'll be just focusing on the breath. I'll be prompting you, and go. You can close your eyes if you feel comfortable and safe, or narrow the focus of your gaze to a foot in front of you. Notice the cool air coming through your nose, grazing your upper lip as you breathe in. Feel the expansion of your ribs in all three directions, forward, back, and side to side. And as you exhale, notice the quality. Is it soft? Is it forceful? Is your in-breath the same length as your out-breath? See if you can feel the warm air grazing your upper lip as you breathe out. And that is time. Wow, I could have gone for like another 10 minutes of that. Oh, goodness. Okay. Now that we're all fully mellowed, let's go into more about these ideas. Something that I have really come to realize actually in the last year has been this idea that I am enough. I want to talk about this because it's really a thing for women. We are told that we are not enough all the time. Think about any advertisement that is targeted towards women for things like cosmetics or clothing or whatever. We're told that unless you buy this thing, you're not enough. You're not beautiful enough. You're not capable enough. You're not professional enough, whatever. I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired of that message. I've been hearing that message for 50 years. I'm tired of it. I want to challenge you with a little bit of this and ask the question, is your self-worth tied to your career or accomplishments? When I wanted to refine my marketing message for my coaching business better, I became attracted to a program that was put on by a gal named Marissa Peer. She is a psychologist who invented the Rapid Transformational Therapy, or RTT program. RTT is kind of controversial. I'm not going to go into it. What I will say is that I have had several RTT sessions, and they helped me tremendously. In a way, it had some similar qualities to EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing, and my body benefited a lot from the sessions. Like anything, having a good practitioner is really a huge factor to determine whether you have a successful session or not. Anyhow, long story long, her tagline for all of her programs is "I am enough." She explains in a lot of her material that after working with so many different clients, even very like famous, well-known people that have gone on to be incredibly successful, that their underlying belief system is that I'm not enough. And that when they have to do whatever they're doing, XYZ, whatever in the world, it's like they're constantly trying to prove themselves. And if this belief can be transformed into I am enough, that shift in energy opens up opportunities so that they can accomplish and do the things they want to do and become well known or famous or make a lot of money or whatever their goals are. Statistics show that women in the workplace begin with a lot of ambition, and within a few short years in corporate, their self-esteem has absolutely plummeted. The mixed messages, the double standards, the glass ceilings, everything we've talked about in multiple LinkedIn Lives wears them down. And in a time of crisis, we grab onto whatever is the easiest thing or the most familiar thing to try to help ourselves. Usually these are patterns that have come out of our childhood or our adolescence. And in the case of corporate women, it's aligning ourselves to our self-worth. And I also just want to comment, having formerly been a K-12 educator, I really see in K-12 education, at least in the US, how performative the education system has become, and the children start to align their self-esteem on their performance. And that also shows up with the social media stuff, right? They align their self-esteem with how many likes they get, how many comments they get, things like that. And it's just tough. It is, we are doing our children a disservice by teaching them this at such an early age. So that's what, especially younger generations of women, that's what a lot of women are doing. They are aligning their self-worth to their accomplishments or their career path. So how do you know if you're doing this? And you can see with these statistics, this is just one of many, but only 60% of, or 100, when women go to apply for a promotion, they only apply if they fulfill 100% of the criteria. Well, how often is that? Never. It's pretty rare. But men will apply when they only have 60% of the criteria, and they'll kind of talk their way into it. I mean, it's crazy. It's just crazy all the different ways women are conditioned to hold ourselves back. Okay, let me ask you this question. Get out your journal or your scrap paper or whatever. Let's take a few minutes. I'll give you actually just 30 seconds for each version of this question. Okay, here's the timer. So the first question is, when you do something well, what do you say to yourself? When you do something well, what do you say to yourself? Go. Don't think about it too hard. Just write down what comes to you. Ten seconds left. And pause. All right. Now the same thing when you mess something up. We're talking about that inner dialogue. When you mess something up, whether it's at work or home, whatever, what is the first thing that you say to yourself when you do this? When you mess something up, what do you say to yourself? What's your inner dialogue? Go. Ten seconds. And time. When I did this for myself, it was pretty eye-opening. Again, no judgment, no need to change anything. Just notice what you wrote. Notice the two different things. I'll tell you, for me, when I did this, when it came to the things I did well, I wrote down nothing, because when I did something well, I would not even acknowledge it. It was just this inherent expectation that I would do things well all the time, and that's just how it was. And I would only talk to myself internally if I messed something up. Isn't that something? It's kind of telling. All right. Great job on your courage for answering those questions. Those are not easy things to face in ourselves. The first thing I know to be true is that you are your own best fill in the blank. Everything. You are your own best friend. You are your own best advocate. You are your own best partner. You are your own best cheerleader. You are your own best mentor. You are your own best supporter. I mean, the list is endless. It's really you. Yes, we have mentors, we have cheerleaders, we have people to support ourselves. Think about the World Cup that just happened, right? You know, you've got these players. We all saw or heard on the radio teams that were doing super, super well, and then they got to a game and they just crumbled and fell apart. Almost 100% of that was mindset. I mean, all the players were skilled. All of the players could achieve their highest dreams. It was mindset. No amount of coaching is going to help you to achieve your goals or get through a challenging situation. Sure, you can go to others and get that support and that information, but it's what you do with it inside that really drives your success or your failure. So even working for myself, I've learned that nobody is going to go to bat for me but me. And eventually, even with mentors or advocates in the workplace, one wrong perception by that other person and that support will end. I forget what the word is. It's not a mentor, but I guess it's like an advocate or supporter. I forget, in leadership terms, there's a certain word for that. But if I say the wrong thing or I offer the wrong impression just one time, that supporter who's trying to help me get up the chain, they're going to remove their support. So in the end, it's all still left up to me, right? It is a tightrope walk. And that's why I always think of mentors or advocates in the workplace as nice to have. It's really nice to have that. And it helps for sure. Statistics show that it helps. And also, ultimately, I'm still responsible with what I do with that support and cheerleading and mentorship. It was really tough for me to accept this reality. It still is. In my last teaching job, I had long COVID. Nobody cared. I brought in the doctor's note. I did all the things. Nobody cared. Their expectation of me was to be 100% perfect and to do everything they wanted me to do, regardless of whether I had long COVID or not. I signed that contract and I felt obligated to keep it. And at the time, I didn't know that I could have just broken the contract based on my doctor's note and still loved myself. that was the reason I stayed, is that I associated my staying with that teaching contract as being how I valued myself. That somehow I was a bad person if I broke that contract. But what it really did is it ground my health into the ground. I was just an absolute wreck by the end of that year. And I didn't get even renewed because my performance was poor. The long and the short of it is I shouldn't have been working. I was sick. I was sick. When I look back on that, it's disturbing to think how much I associated my value with my accomplishments in my teaching career. This is a hard truth, but it's still a truth. You are the only one who will watch out for your health, your pocketbook, your time with family and loved ones. That means you need to walk that tightrope, because it is a tightrope for women, right? Men don't have quite the same experience, but it's walking that tightrope when of self-advocacy and yet not sounding pushy or being aggressive or being witchy, right? Which is where all the double standards come in, and yet still advocating for yourself. But the thing is it's worth it, and you are worth it. Time lost wallowing in self-doubt is time that you will never get back in your life. I know this because I look back on my 50 years and I think about all the times where I was wallowing in self-doubt, all the times where I doubted my capabilities, doubted my accomplishments, doubted my value. And those are minutes, hours of my life that I'll never get back. Let's do a little bit more. Oops, wait a minute. I went too fast. Okay, I forgot about the writing piece. So again, I'll be offering you 30 seconds. What are 3 ways, just this week, small ways, 3 ways that you can be your own best friend at work? I'll give you 30 seconds. Go. Ten seconds left. And wrap up your writing. Being your own best friend at work is a great way to begin to overcome burnout. All right, my next truth. Your body doesn't lie. Bodies can't lie. I have a lot of experience with animals. I have 2 dogs, 2 kitties. I've had animals my whole life. If you are engaged with animals in any way, especially around here, there's a lot of horse people that raise cattle and the like. You will see that an animal's body won't lie. If something's going on with them, you'll know it right away. If they're ailing, if they're hurt, if they don't feel well, you will know it right away. They're very instant and in the moment. Well, the thing is, we're animals. We don't like to think about that because we've got all our minds and all this great language and culture and all these things, and so we think we're superior. At the end of the day, we have a mammalian body, and that body will tell us things. But our minds are so strong and powerful now that we push it away and we deny it and we ignore it. And then serious health crises happen. And we wonder why. Well, because the body's been talking and you haven't been listening. They are an incredibly underutilized resource in modern times. We are conditioned to not listen to them, especially in the corporate world and especially for women. We are rewarded by only using our minds. What I have found, and many of my clients have found, is that when they tap into the wisdom of their bodies, they learn truths that they can no longer deny. Sometimes those truths are stop doing this. Sometimes those truths are begin this new and exciting thing and we're on board. It runs the gamut, right? It's all sorts of truths. What I've demonstrated through these Monday on Madness sessions are techniques that are super easy and simple to begin building awareness in your body. We just did this a few minutes ago. Do them. Go back to the past recordings and do these movements. Do them every day. If you're really being self-loving and caring of yourself, do them once per hour. Get up out of your desk and do just one movement for 30 seconds and then go back and sit down. It'll revolutionize your workday. When you're feeling overwhelmed, burned out, confused, and otherwise flummoxed at work or with your career transition journey, pause and ask yourself, what is my body telling me right now in this moment? And then just take 10 seconds to breathe and listen. Because that's the thing. We can ask our bodies all different kind of things, but if we don't take the time to actually listen, we're not actually utilizing the resource, right, of our body. Then here's the critical piece. Do the thing your body tells you to do. If your body is telling you to do something like lie down for an hour, but you're at work, then negotiate. Talk to your body and ask it, well, we're at work right now. Can I just shut my eyes at my desk for 10 minutes? Is that a compromise that will work for you? Most of the time, your body will be like, yeah, that's cool. I get it. And then when you go home, take a 10-minute power nap. And your body will tell you, take a 10-minute when you get home. Okay, and then you have to do it. Now, here's the critical reason why. By listening to your body and actually doing the thing it says for you to do, that's how you build self-trust. That's how you break the cycle of aligning your self-worth to your career actions and instead realigning your self-worth to your relationship to yourself. Okay? Building self-trust. If you make a promise to do something, do it. If your body tells you to do something and you can, do it. That's how you realign and restore your value system and move away from the performance-based cycle that we have been so conditioned to accept as okay. Last thing, my third truth. Community is everything for women. It is everything. I just saw a video the other night on Instagram about how our language is designed to discourage women from coming together. Because even in ancient cultures, they knew the power of women in community and community leaders back then, even in those days, were afraid of the uncontrollable power of women coming together. The content producer used words like hysteria from the ancient Greek word for a woman's sex organs, or catty for when women laugh because they often cackle in a deep way than when they're around men. And you know what I'm talking about. When you're with your girlfriends, you just get into that rich, deep laugh that is like no other laughter when there's men present, right? We all know this experience. It was really fascinating. The fact is, women, whether clandestinely or in the open, have been coming together to support ourselves since humans lived in caves, like since the dawn of human civilization. It was a way to pass on information about childbirth, aging, threats to the group, organizational management needs, group consensus, all the things. When I was in corporate, I had few women to talk to, and the ones that I did not offer me such mentorship or support. There was one female manager in all the years I was in corporate that I had that was a great mentor, and that was it. As I rose through the ranks, the support dwindled to nothing. And it really wasn't easy, and it was difficult to find additional support. So I challenge you, especially if you are in VP or higher roles, to reach out and initiate a conversation with a middle management woman at your workplace, and to do this often and regularly. And I get it that if you're a VP or higher, you're busy. I get it. But that thing about being in the C-suite and being lofty and all this stuff, those days are over, right? Employees want C-level executives that are accessible. And it doesn't mean you have to give away all your time in the kitchen sink. You can be strategic about it and still protect your time and your access. And also, it will be one of the most powerful things for you as a mentor or a cheerleader or an advocate for a woman that is in a lower role than you. You will benefit from it so greatly, as well as that woman. And if you are in middle management, take the time and the healthy risk to try and reach out to a woman that's higher up than you and just ask to chat. Ask about them, ask about their experiences, how they got to where they are. It's a compliment to be asked these things. And it doesn't have to be super formal, like sending an email or getting on their calendar, but you can just say, hey, when are you planning to take lunch? Do you want to eat lunch together, or do you want to grab a coffee together? That sort of thing. Again, you will benefit greatly for coming together. So I put this together. There's a lot of great statistics here. It's phenomenal how much women do better in the workplace when they have an employee resource group for women. And look at how much it increases the bottom line, 25%. If that's not nuts, I don't know what is. Like, why is every company not doing this? I don't know. And for what we do when we're in community, this is the big one. We start to dismantle patriarchy. That's so huge. We improve companies, we improve communities, we live longer, healthier lives, and we raise well-rounded children when we are in community with other women. So if you're watching this, no matter what capacity you're in, maybe you're a stay-at-home mom, maybe you've got like a side gig or whatever, or anything, or you're in corporate, whatever, being in community is huge. And I want to also just say, not only religious communities, right? Because there's a lot of women groups at churches and different things, but to expand beyond that world and get involved with women in other capacities. And then I also want to encourage, there's something, obviously, if you are in a particular ethnic or racial group, there's something super special about being in your ethnic group as women. But I want to just highlight that when you're in a mixed race or mixed ethnicity group of women, it is equally as powerful, and it can open your eyes to a lot of new things. So again, I encourage you to kind of step out of your comfort zone box of only being with women, like if you're in a certain group, a certain ethnic or racial group, and to explore getting into groups of women where it's mixed. I have benefited greatly from this, and I encourage everyone to explore this. All right, I'm just going to give you 10 seconds. So again, super fast to write down who is one woman, who's one woman that I can reach out to this week. Go, 10 seconds. And that is time. Okay, this is the part where I'm going to try really, really hard not to cry. I am sharing these things with you today because I have been in a very, well, first of all, I just want to say my heart is broken as I share this with you. I have to put my coaching business on pause. I'm going through some incredibly difficult health situations right now. They began last year in April and have gotten severely worse this summer. Part of the symptoms of what I'm going through is massive chronic fatigue and brain fog. You can probably hear some congestion in my voice. That's part of it as well. And for about the last 3 weeks, there are some days where I can't even work at all. There are other days where I've been lucky if I could put in a half day. There are some days where like I can't even brush my teeth and get in the shower. I'm so exhausted. It's been really hard and very humbling and frankly devastating. For those of you who have met me and know me through my through my adulthood and youth and all that, I've always been a very active person, very physically active, and doing lots of things in my life and traveling and all the different things. So to go from like 60 to 0 like this has been just one of the toughest things I've ever gone through in my life. I would even qualify this as saying what I'm experiencing right now is worse than the long COVID. And that was pretty hard. The toughest part about it is feeling like I'm letting myself down. I'm letting my clients and my audience down. I'm letting like the universe down, and mentally it has been very difficult to jettison those beliefs and recognize that this is just the thing I have to do. Like I cannot not listen to my body when it's this severe. I would be a hypocrite if I didn't do that, because I'm telling you all the time to listen to your bodies. I also want to highlight to you, because this is really real, and then I'm going to just take this off for a minute. And there's a gal and I'm forgetting her name now, that I connected with on LinkedIn, and she's really an advocate for especially more ethnically and racially diverse medical spaces. I have experienced a tremendous amount of dismissal and disregarding of my symptoms and complaints for the last 15 months. And I am 100% certain that it's a bias because I'm a woman. I'm 100% certain of this, because it's been happening with my 2 primary providers who are men, doctors. And I don't want to go into all the details because I will cry and rant and cuss from the frustration and the anger I feel from this experience. But if you are a woman thinking, oh, those statistics about bias against women in the medical field won't apply to me. My providers won't do that. They're great. I want you to think again, because I thought that I had excellent providers. In fact, even my OBGYN wasn't able to connect the dots on some of this stuff. And I made sure she had everything that my other providers had. It's like you hit 50 and they just think you're an old crabby lady who's complaining because now her body's failing her and she's old. That's what these providers really think. And I want to get violent with them. I want to just get my fists out, because that is not true. And what I have been experiencing for 15 months is not just from old age, and it's not just the old age aches and pains. And I was told that so many times by one provider in particular, so many times. This is just you being 50, Marissa. F that. I shouldn't be feeling this bad at 50, period, the end. Not with how active I am. So this was my motivation to share these 3 things that I know to be true. Because you can imagine, if this is happening to me and I'm a white woman, what's it like for our Black and brown women friends? It's 100 times worse. They get blown off 100 times more. And it's messed up. These 3 things that I know to be true apply to all areas of our lives. And especially if you get sick, like what's happened to me, You will need to be your own best advocate in spades to keep pushing. Again, you don't have to be witchy. You don't have to punch a hole in the wall like I've been wanting to do. But you can just continue to press, continue to push, continue to advocate, continue to question. You're going to need to do that. And you're also going to need to learn to listen to your body like you've never listened to it before. That's been my experience. And you will need to get support like you never have before. That's also been my experience through this. And I'm so deeply grateful for all the women friends in my life right now that have supported me through this, that have recognized you should not be feeling like this, Marissa. We know you, and we know this isn't you. You got to keep pushing until you get the answers and the care that you need. I'm so grateful for them because they are the ones that are filling my cup right now. Because there's been a lot of days where I have felt so bad that I'm like, I cannot pick up the phone one more time to call this doctor. I cannot engage one more time with the person who does not believe me. And then I find a way to dial a number. So for today, it's not goodbye, but it's see you later. I don't know what the next chapter of my life is going to look like. I don't know if I'm going to continue on with coaching women in their career transition. I have to put it down now, at least for a couple months until I can get better, until I can have energy again. I want to know that since the time I wrote this last week and today, the good news is the doctors are getting closer to a diagnosis. Because I'm special, it's multiple things all happening at once. Yay for me, I'm one of the lucky ones. You know, it's not just one thing. If you want to do one-off coaching sessions, I can't really commit to a package right now, but if you want to do a one-off power hour coaching session, I will be glad to do that for you as I am able. And absolutely, please continue to direct message me with questions or with, requests for connection or research or knowledge that I have around burnout, around women's health, around women's corporate experiences and career experiences. It is incredibly difficult for me to put this down because I love the work that I do. But I can't support my clients if my cup is empty. And it's been empty for almost a month now, which is scary. And also, I will get better and I will bounce back from this. So let's see now. So I really want to thank you. I am so, so deeply grateful to know you. I am so deeply grateful to have you in my community, to be part of your lives in even a short time or a short way. And I really look forward to continuing to stay connected with you. I don't know how often I'll be posting or even on LinkedIn or on social at all. But you'll see me when you see me. All right. I wish you a wonderful, amazing week. This is my last live, at least for a while. And when I have another one again, I'll be sure to let you know. And who knows what it'll be about, and who knows how I can best be of service. That's the one thing I would love to hear from you. What are the things you need the most in your life right now, whether it's around your career or your corporate path or your health or whatever? What is the thing that you need the most right now, and what kind of support do you need, and what does that look like for you? I would love to hear you. and to hear that from you. All right, enjoy the rest of your summer. I hope that by fall I'll be able to pick up the pieces and get back on track, maybe September, October. That's my goal. And I really hope that it happens. And thank you again so, so much for your support. I'll see you later.